Welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you can join me. Today I'm going to be talking about Blue Adept. It's book 2 in the Apprentice Adept series by Piers Anthony. I recently finished the first book in the series and talked about that prior. And I moved on to the second. I have all 6 books in the series, and I'm slowly working my way through my backlog. I have an app that I use. It's called Book Catalog, and it actually records when you put a book into the app. Now, I've got this app because I have bought books before, not remembering that I already had the book. So I got an app to keep track, and when I go to a bookstore, I will look up just to make sure that I don't already have that book. Especially if it's one of these older ones. This one was printed in 1984, or 1981, and it's one of the oldest books that I bought that I haven't read yet. No, let me rephrase that. It's been on my bookshelf to read for the longest amount of time. I don't remember when, probably 2016 I got this book, 2016, 2015. And so it's been sitting there, and I've collected other books in the meantime. Anyway, so I was looking through the app to try to find a way to go through my backlog, and I organized the books by when I had added them to the app, and this one was one of the older books on the list as far as when I had acquired it. There we go. So anyway, as I said in a prior take, I think it was, this book takes up where Split Infinity left off. So the surf style, he has been forced to enter the games, the tourney on Proton. Now, Proton is a technologically advanced world, and it is quite important to humanity in that that's where they mine their fuel source on this planet. What Style found out in the first book is that there is a mystical divide between the world of Proton and the world of Phase, and he is able to cross back and forth between these two worlds. Now, the reason he's able to do that is because his double in the world of Phase was killed. And in Phase, Style was his former self in Phase was the very powerful magician, the Blue Adept, and because of the machinations of the adepts on Phase, one adept in particular, Style was killed, or should say Style's double was killed on Phase, and that same person tried to murder him on Proton. Now, because of everything that went on, he can now cross back and forth. Apparently, the rules of that particular universe are that if you have a living double in both, I shouldn't say in both places, but if you have a living double that's in the other world, you cannot even perceive the boundary between them, nor can you cross it. So the person that is out for his blood can cross back and forth between the realms, and they were strong enough to kill an adept. Now, an adept is, an archmage, whatever you will, basically the most powerful of of the mages that live in phase. And so he is pretty sure that the adept, or that another adept, was the one that killed his double and is trying to kill him. In this book, in book 2, he's still investigating who was trying to kill him, because they're not done. They keep trying. And he is trying to piece together who is an ally and who is an enemy on both sides. Now, one of the things that is, to me, was somewhat illogical about the book is that they have a citizen serf system set up on the Proton side. Citizens have rights, serfs do not, and they serve the citizens of Proton, and in order to keep the serfs happy, they have these games. Now, the games, you can actually, if you win this tourney, you can become a citizen of Proton and have all the rights and powers and whatever else. In addition to that, going through this tourney, if you don't win it, you could immediately be ejected from the planet. You could also gain some more years to your tenure on the planet. Now, to me, that seems odd that you have these people who are trained workers who are there to do a job for you, and you would just arbitrarily get rid of them every 30 years or so, which means that you have to retrain the populace to do the job that you already trained a guy to do that you just then sent off planet. Anyway, that's how it works. In addition to being on the planet and being able to move back and forth between Proton and phase, there are other challenges that Style has to overcome. He's still feeling out the extent of his abilities on phase. He is dealing with the widow of his double, with whom he has fallen in love, but she states over and over to him that she doesn't love him, that she loved her husband, who was his double. Now, they're practically the same person, but for all intents and purposes, they know that they are different. He has to deal with the unicorn still, because his he was able to, in the previous book, tame a unicorn, and that unicorn is still part of the herd that lives in the area around his castle. So he still has to deal with them. He has to deal with the adepts. He finds that he has to deal with the dragon. There's a bunch of stuff going on the phase side. Now, on the other side, because of the actions of whoever was trying to kill him in the first book, he lost his job as a jockey. Now, the way it works is if you don't immediately find employment, then you're shipped off planet. And he was given employment fairly soon after this happened by another citizen who wanted him to compete in the tourney. Now, this is his opportunity to gain some more time on the planet, maybe even become a citizen of the planet itself and be able to stay there for the rest of his life. Now, whether he wins or loses, he still has the ability to go to proton or go to phase and not worry about proton anymore. But to maintain the it's not balance, but at least at this point to maintain the fiction that he is only a member of proton, he crosses back and forth, and he does indeed compete in the tourney. You get a lot more information about the tourney and about the games that are played in the tourney. One of the he ends up playing a football match. He ends up doing things that would not necessarily be considered games, but interestingly enough, things like art were actually part of the Olympic Games, and that is something that is reintroduced in this book. I don't know if reintroduced is the right word, but for most of my life, I did not know that art was something you could medal in at the Olympics, and then it was removed. This is somewhat similar, where you have games where you might do wrestling or fencing or shooting, or in one instance he has to find his way through a maze faster than his opponent finds their way through the maze. Some of the other things are that they might have competitive painting or sculpting, things like that. So going into these games, you not only have to be good at the physical sports, you also have to be good at poetry, riddles, math. There's a whole bunch of different things that are involved in these games. And part of what you're doing in these games is you're trying to outthink your opponent, to not give them something that they are good at, to limit their choices to something that both of you have a competitive, or at least you can fool them into choosing something that you might have a competitive advantage in. So anyway, it is fast-paced. The action picks up in a number of places. There is still some travel and some dialogue that goes along, but it's well balanced with the action, so it's not like you're bogged down at any one point. You get to know Style better. You get to know the people that are his allies. And again, he has, you explore his abilities as the Blue Adept more in depth. And in this one, there's a lot more of the games portion. So if you read the first book and you were intrigued by the games, there's a lot more of it in the second book of the series. And he actually does have the opportunity to delve more into what's going on behind the scenes, both in Proton and in Phase, and how the two are linked together. So that's it for the Blue Adept. Let me know what you thought. If you've read it, let me know your thoughts. Comment, like, subscribe, put the bell on so you get notifications. And until next time, enjoy what you're reading.